I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me. Yeah, wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Fine.
Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's a Wednesday, so everybody knows by now that means it's time for another weekly Top 10 countdown. And I will get into this week's Top 10 countdown coming up here in a couple of short minutes. First, let me say to my man Eric, who actually messaged me last Wednesday right after I posted last Wednesday's Top 10 countdown about a Top 10 countdown that he would like to see. Eric, I did not forget. I've just been doing research about it, and the earliest one that I can find is from 2013, and 9 years is a long time in the world of football. A lot can change, a lot can happen, and a lot of players can come and go in 9 years, so I don't want to use that list. If I can find another list that's a little bit more modern and a little bit newer, I'll do it, but that's the reason why I'm not doing your countdown. I did not forget. And then let me say, coming up tomorrow, I'm going to be discussing something, and we're not going to be doing a preview, not going to be doing a review, nothing like that. We're going to be discussing something that's very, 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 very common now in the world of college athletics. Some say it's a good thing, some say it's a bad thing. As soon as word got out about 5 years ago that this was the way we were heading, Dabo Swinney came out and said it's a terrible idea. But of course, we know by now that every time Dabo says something, people criticize him. But now, almost every other coach in America is on board, and they're agreeing with Dabo and saying it's a bad idea. Now, all of a sudden, people are no longer complaining that Dabo said it 5 years ago. There's very few coaches that like it. As a matter of fact, Villanova basketball coach Jay Wright retired last week, and word is he retired because of this. But we'll talk about that coming up more tomorrow. But this week's Top 10 countdown comes to us courtesy of worldpopulationreview.com. And it is the top 10 happiest states. And as I go through, I'm going to tell you one or two reasons why each state is on the list. And then when I get done, just in case you're curious, I'm going to tell you which state ranks dead last in being the happiest state, which I guess makes them the most unhappy state. Number 10 is Connecticut, and they're fifth for emotional and physical well-being, and they have the sixth lowest crime rate per capita in the country, which of course means they calculate how many thousands or millions of people live in the state, and they divide that by how much crime happens on a yearly basis, which in my opinion must mean that Connecticut has very, very, very little crime, because it's not a very big state. Number 9 is Idaho, and they're second for work environment and community environment, and they have the sixth best adequate sleep rate. And the reason why that is good is because most people say that adults should average 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night to function properly, emotionally, physically, and mentally. And I know I'm not on that list. I don't get anywhere close to 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, but that's what they say you're supposed to get to be able to function properly on a daily basis. Number 8 is Iowa, and they're 6th for work environment, and they have the 3rd lowest long-term unemployment rate in the country. Now, I have never been to Iowa because I've always heard that it's cold, so I don't want to go because I don't like cold weather. But I used to work with the guy that had family there, and I've also talked to a few people over the years that have been there, and they say that it is cold most of the time, but the people in Iowa are the most friendly people that you will ever meet in your life, which has me wanting to go there just for that. I love meeting friendly people. Number 7 on the list is North Dakota, and they're 1st for lowest long-term unemployment rate, and they have the 2nd lowest divorce rate. And divorce itself means you're happy, because most people, if they're unhappy for whatever reason, they automatically think, oh, it's my marriage, I'll just get divorced. And having a low unemployment rate is good, because that means most people in the state actually want to work and actually have a desire to work. And I wish I could say that about the state that I live in. The state that I live in is the complete opposite. People find reasons not to work and not to go to work. Number 6 is California, and they're on the list because they have the 4th lowest adult depression rate. Before we crack the top 5, let's recap numbers 10 through 6. Number 10, Connecticut. Number 9, Idaho. Number 8, Iowa. Number 7, North Dakota. And number 6, California. And again, this is the top 10 happiest states according to worldpopulationreview.com. Number 5 is Maryland, and they're on the list because they have the 5th lowest suicide rate in the country. Number 4 is New Jersey. They have the lowest adult depression rate and the lowest suicide rate. Number 3 is Minnesota. They have the 3rd lowest divorce rate and the 2nd highest volunteer rate. And that is very good to me, because generally, if people are happy, they're more willing to help somebody without asking or expecting anything in return. Where I'm from and where I live, you just don't see that a whole lot. If you ask anybody for help, they automatically assume that they're getting something in return. They can't just help somebody out of the goodness of their heart. They've got to get something in return, or they're just not going to do it. Number 2, Utah. It has the highest volunteer rate, the lowest divorce rate, and it is the 4th safest state. And Utah is one big state. So for it to be the 4th safest state, that means there's a lot of people in that state doing good things instead of bad things, because Utah is a huge state. Number 1 is, of course, we should all know, Hawaii. They have the 2nd lowest adult depression rate, the 5th highest income growth rate, and the 4th lowest divorce rate. So that means almost everything in that state is good, which is probably why everybody that I've ever talked to that's ever been there has nothing but good things to say about Hawaii. I have never met anyone, whether it's personally or on TV or on radio or magazines, whatever, I have never met anyone that said anything bad about the entire state of Hawaii. So maybe one day before I'm dead and gone, I'll take me a vacation to Hawaii. But again, that is the top 10 happiest states according to worldpopulationreview.com. Feel free to go there and read the list in its entirety. Find out where your state ranks. And just for kicks, I wrote down state number 50, which again, like I said earlier, means they're the most unhappy state, and that is West Virginia. So even though John Denver says, take me home, country roads, apparently nobody wants to live in West Virginia. I know the biggest West Virginia Mountaineers football fan lives in South Carolina. So even the most popular sport with their biggest fan does not want to live in West Virginia. Any thoughts on this countdown? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Why does Waldo wear a striped shirt? He doesn't want to be spotted. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.